Good day, ladies and gentlemen. This is Darian Jones of Honor Kings and Sons TV podcast. Thank you so much for tuning in, my fans, my subscribers, everybody from all over the world. I appreciate you all for supporting me and following me along this journey. Be sure, if you are new to my podcast, to follow me on all social media platforms. Just type in Honor Kings and Sons, and you'll be able to find me on Facebook, on Threads, on TikTok, on Instagram, and on YouTube. I have two YouTube channels. If you type in at DJonesHKS, you'll find my entertainment page where I put a little bit of my podcast clips as well as some different skits and things I'm doing, just so give people a laugh every single day. And on my other YouTube page, when you type in at Honor Kings and Sons TV, you'll be able to see my catalog of podcast episodes. I am so excited to speak with you today on none other than the subject of entrepreneurship. Yes, entrepreneurship. This is something I've been wanting to talk about for some time now. It took me a while to really find the way to just really talk about it, but I said, you know what? I'm just going to flow with it, and I want to hear you guys take. So entrepreneurship is something that, to be honest with you, as far back as I can recall, I would say, okay, funny thing. I would say this. The first time I remember the word entrepreneurship and it rung some type of a bell, I was probably middle school when Soul Plane came out. I remember the famous scene when Kevin Hart, he had the accident on the plane, and when he went to court, I remember he was saying that he wanted to become an entrepreneur. That was something that he was trying to do. Now, this is the first thing that comes to my mind. I'm pretty sure I heard the word in other movies or so, but I can honestly tell you why I never had heard that word. I never heard entrepreneurship in school. As far back as I can think of, I've never heard not one person, elementary school, middle school, or high school, say the word entrepreneurship. As a matter of fact, I don't even recall having a speaker come to the school talking about entrepreneurship. I really didn't connect with entrepreneurship literally until a couple of years ago. I'm talking about as early as 2019. So like I said, continuing as far as my journey and how I came to being an entrepreneur myself, I would have to say that, when I was in high school, my senior year, I was kind of breaking down. I was that student that I didn't know what I wanted to do. And a little bit of backstory so that this could all come into context. Me growing up, I would freely admit that I was one of those sheltered kids where it's like you went to school, you went to church, and you were home. The couple of times that my mom tried to, give me some freedom. You're young, you don't really know anything like that. You just go have fun with your friends or, whatever you're introduced to. If you feel like, oh man, this is something I can't tell, my parents about, you keep it on the low or whatever. So for me, growing up, anytime I was given any leeway, if there was anything that popped off, then boom, I was put back on lockdown. So when I was growing up, I never really, had that experience of like, falling down, getting back up on my own. It's like you had to, I wouldn't even say perfect. Like you had to just follow this criteria. It was like this look, this image that you had to keep up with, and especially being somebody who's faith-based and grew up in the church. So I've always had that over my life. I've never been in a situation where like, I had to build something from the ground up, chase something that I want to do and things like that. I just didn't have that background. So my senior year in high school, I didn't know what I wanted to do for college, but I knew what I was good at. And I love making music, and I'll definitely share that story about how, my love for music came about. So I definitely love making music, and that's what I was doing from 2000 in, I would say, 2003. 2003 is around the time I started like rapping, writing rhymes. I grew up loving music. And then I was in a music group with my friends from church, and we were making music. I was the one making the beats, as well as writing my own rhymes. And we were trying to go somewhere, and it's funny because we did this contest over the radio, and we won a placement. And if we would have won the next phase of the contest, we would have got a record deal. It didn't fall through. Crazy. It just didn't fall through. But that was kind of my closest opportunity to what would have opened me into the world of entrepreneurship, at that time. So anyways, fast forward, I've been making music, making beats, and I said, I'm gonna go to school for music. And this is now 2009. I graduated high school 2009. And I remember in the early 2000s, there was a university in Winter Park, Florida called Full Sail University. This is probably the number one university in the United States for music production, film production, recording production, music recording. Like, and when I say number one, I mean like in popularity, right? Like the number one university in the United States. Everybody wanted to go there. I actually have a family friend that grew up with my older brothers. He went there, and like two other people I know from my high school actually went there. So like, I was like, man, I want to go there. And this is being so transparent. The first thing in my entire life that I fought hard for, other than when I was actually writing rhymes and making beats, was trying to go to this university. And it was my first time I had to like propose. I had to like try to convince my mom, like, hey, like, I know this is going to be tough, but like, I want to go to this university. And with this school at the time, I don't know if they still do it now, they used to do phone interviews. So you wouldn't have somebody that would come to the house and talk to you. You would talk to a person on the phone, and then they would walk you through like a questionnaire. You would have to fill out the application. After you fill out the application, you have to select your tuition. You had to select a seat in the classroom. And then I forgot there was another part of the process you had to do. So once you did that, then they would call you back and they would talk about how you're going to pay for tuition. Long story short, my mom was like, listen, I can't afford that. You're just going to have to go to, one of the local colleges here. And, that it just, it never happened. So I never went to Full Sail. So that was my first introduction into like, going after something that I wanted to. Right. So I did the application process. I sat on the phone with the people, but like, that was it. And like I told you before, me growing up, anytime I wanted to go after something, it was from this sheltered, standpoint. So I could only go so far. So now I'm in college, and long story short, I go to school for music. I go to Miami-Dade College. I get my my associates in music education. I get invited to New World School of the Arts. Special shout out to Professor Fred DeSena, and Dr. Susan Epstein Garcia. Amazing teachers. Taught me so much when I was in music school. So definitely, when I got into college for music, this was now my second introduction to entrepreneurship. Even though that terminology and the whole world of it, I did not see in its fullest. This is just me, looking back, and I'm like, okay, I was tippy-toeing around this before I even knew I was being in it. So when I was in college for music, this is around the time I also got into dance. So around the time that I was choosing what school I wanted to go to for college, I fell in love with dance. So for me, it was crazy because I was stepping into these different fields, but I had no idea that what it takes to be successful in these fields is you have to have a mindset of entrepreneurship. So 2009, I got into street dance. I got into a dance style known as krump. For those of you who don't know what krump is, you just type it in KRUMP on YouTube and you'll see millions of videos. It's been in different movies, the whole nine. So I was doing dance for some time. Actually, I was doing dance from 2009 to pretty much 2021 when I had to like officially stop dancing. So I was in dance, and long story short, when I got into dance, there was something that woke up in me that I didn't necessarily activate in music. In the dance community, it's very active, and the best way for you to get in front of more people is you have to propose yourself on paper or talking and networking to people. But with dance, people want to see you physically. With music, nobody has to see your face. You can email your stuff. You can do a deal on the phone, and that's it, right? People just have to use their ears. They don't need to see your face. But with dance, they had to see you physically. So I learned in dance how to show up, how to be prepared, how to be creative, how to make sure that I come with my research, with everything down pack, right? Because with music, there's a lot of things you can get away with when you're trying to push yourself in music, but there will come a point where what you don't know will bite you in the butt. With dance, you have to be on point 24/7. Why? Because dance requires your physical body. So you physically have to show up every single time for dance. So during that time, that's when I realized, like, oh snap, like when it comes to this promoting myself and going to other communities and even getting opportunities to make a living off of dance, you have to go out there and get it. So unlike music, I had to go everywhere. If I went to another city, I had to put my money together. If I carpool with somebody, if I took, bus or train, like I had to go and show up. So I had no idea that music was the opening door to entrepreneurship because of all the different things you could do in the music industry, right? But then dance opened me up to showing up, right? So what's funny was, and there's so much in between the story. I wish I can dive into it super deep, but over time I'll share more and more. So after a while being in dance, I would say 2000, 2018. 2018 was probably one of the craziest years of my life because in 2017 we had Hurricane Irma that hit South Florida, and a lot of people were messed up from Hurricane Irma. And at that time, I was settling down, and I wanted to get married. So in 2017, I did get married, but I didn't have my official wedding until the following year. So 2018 comes, so I am still doing music, but I'm not doing it in the way that I wanted to do it as a career because now I'm switching to decide I'm going to get married. So I wasn't in the actual music circles in terms of mingling with people physically. I was more, just getting things out there, like putting beats on SoundCloud. SoundCloud was super popular at that time. I was putting stuff on SoundCloud. I hadn't made a YouTube channel. I wanted to make a YouTube channel to put my beats up there. That's a wave that I missed. I wish I would have did that back then. But anyways, I'm doing that, and then I decide that I'm going to, keep pushing with dance. So in 2018, I have my actual wedding ceremony, and what's crazy was I had been dancing so much that people were offering me jobs. Now, I wasn't the best dancer. I have footage on YouTube. I have footage on my Instagram. Well, not a whole bunch because I took a lot of it off. But I wasn't the best dancer. I was the most dedicated because I knew what I wanted to do with dance. So when I started getting opportunities to teach it, I took those opportunities. And it wasn't to really, like show off and brag. Oh, I'm teaching dance. I'm in the studio. Blah blah blah. I really had a community mindset with it first and foremost, but it being an opportunity to bring in more money, feed my family, yada yada yada. I was like, this is awesome. So actually through dance, that was my actual first like stream of income from outside of having a base job, and more opportunities came. I remember literally the month after I got married, I had my wedding ceremony in 2018. It was crazy because I had so many opportunities. The crew I was dancing with at the time, we got offered to do a music video. I had a business that wanted us to shoot a promo commercial for a car show they were doing. All these opportunities came. All of these opportunities came. And I was like, yo, this is crazy. And when I looked, I said, wait a minute. Okay, I have to start to work on my image. And this is when entrepreneurship was birthed in me. At the end of 2018, going into 2019, I had to make a decision. If I'm going to go this far in dance, and I still had music on the side. As a matter of fact, by the end of 2019, I had done a beat tape with some producers, and then I had done my own beat tape by myself. So I was still pushing music, and as a matter of fact, I even started uploading my music on this website called airbit.com. I think if I'm not mistaken, it's still a pretty hot website that a lot of music producers still put their stuff on today. So by the end of 2019, I said, wait a minute, I have to brand myself. I didn't know anything about branding. I didn't know anything about, marketing and advertising. I just thought that was a career that, people just chose to just work. So in 2019, I said, okay, I have to brand myself. So I had to find something that I could wear to show uniformity. So for me, I love hats. I'm a hat connoisseur. My first hat that I purchased was in 2000 and I think 2004, 2005. My first hat that I ever purchased, no, it was 2005. I remember because this is back when Young Jeezy and all the down south rappers was taking over the music industry. And I remember that everybody was repping Miami-Dade County 305. And I went to the store in this mall, and I bought this 305 Miami-Dade County hat. That was the first hat I bought with my own money. It was like $35. So from then I was wearing hats. So then I was like, you know what? Fast forward back to 2019, I'm going to start, with hats. And it was the scariest thing. When I see one thing that people have to understand about entrepreneurship is that entrepreneurship, and this is going to be a crazy statement, and it'll take you guys a while to understand this. As a person who's faith-based, right? I believe in Jesus Christ. I confess Christ as my Lord and Savior. I'm a Bible-believing Christian. I believe in holiness, grace, forgiveness, the cross, the power of the cross, the whole nine, right? When I think about entrepreneurship, especially the time I've been in it, I'm thoroughly convinced that entrepreneurship is an exact replica of the lifestyle of a Christian. I'm thoroughly convinced. And it would take me, I would have to sit down and write a book about this for you guys to fully understand my statement. But when I look at the two, I see the same thing. Because entrepreneurship exposes you. When you decide that you're going to create something, when you decide that you're going to chase a dream, when you decide that you're going to offer value to the world, right? You're going to involve yourself in the world of business, money, currency, creating value. The first thing that happens is you have to address you, because the way entrepreneurship works, it takes a lot of faith. It's not just work. If you think that entrepreneurship is just work, 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 no, it's a lot of faith. It's a lot of evaluation. It's a lot of working with people and instilling value into people, pouring into people. And it's a lot of betting on yourself. You have to believe in what you're doing. You have to believe in what you're doing. So I'll never forget in 2019, when I decided I was going to do this, I was so scared. I had never been scared in my life. And this fear came from the fact that I lived a sheltered life. Every time I wanted to do something on my own, I always had somebody telling me what to do. Always, always, always. I've had so many, anytime, and I know there's millions of people who can contest to this. That, I mean, it's the age of social media. We have millions of people share their story every day, and I tell you that everybody is happy when you just are you, and you're not making any impact, and you're not making anybody uncomfortable, and you're not stepping on any toes, and you're not growing in life. Everybody is happy. They're comfortable. They love to say hi to you. As a matter of fact, they love to use you, but you're so blind and dumb you don't know. But let it be that you decide you want to do something for yourself. That's when everybody and their mama got something to say about what you want to do. Everybody got to throw in their 2 cents. Everybody's going to say this. Everybody's going to say that. And so for me, I'm what? This is 2019, so I'm what, 29 years old? Yeah, I'm like 29. Yeah, 29 turning 30. So I'm here, and I'm like, man, this is a crazy idea. I'm stupid for doing this. This isn't gonna work. This is a waste of time. And I'll never forget going on the website where I went to buy my first hat, and it was crazy how I was shaking. I'm like, and mind you, the hat only costs, I think after tax, it was like $3.42. So I'm tripping. I'm having this nervous breakdown about buying this hat that is $3.42. It was the craziest thing ever. So long story short, I buy the hat. After I buy the hat, it gets shipped. Now I'm over here, I'm running around the house. A part of me is excited. A part of me is like, this is dumb. A part of me is excited. A part of me is like, this is dumb. And I went. The package finally came. When the package came, I opened it up and I'm staring at the hat. And I'm looking at the hat like I just bought gold. But I'm also looking at the hat like, what the hell am I doing? So I'm like, okay, I have this hat. What am I going to do now? So I went around and I was trying to see how can I get like, a design stitched. So I, looked online or whatever. So there was a location at the mall near where I lived. Well, I'm living in a new city. I'm in Homestead. I was born and raised in South Miami Heights, and the mall I went to was back in my old neighborhood. So I finally find a place where they do stitching and embroidery, and it's inside the store. And then when I went to the store, I talked to the guy. He was like, this is how much it costs for stitching. He says, hey, you know what? If you become a regular and you bring in a certain amount of hats, I'll get you a discount. So it's funny. It's like I had my first plug. It's so funny. So I did the first hat, and I only had. I had money. I had money to spend, but I wanted to learn the process, so I didn't spend a lot the first one. So I got 3 letters. I'll put on the hat. The 3 letters represented. So I don't remember if I've shared this. So at the time, I was pushing dance, and I was pushing, the dance scene that I was building in Homestead. So at the first time, the letters HKS, they stood for Homestead Crumb Scene. So that was the first design. So what happened is I made it, and I was like, yo, I did it. And I remember I wore the hat. I wore the hat like pretty much every dance session I went to. I wore the hat to different events. And I said, man, I want to do cool things with the hat. So this is where my mind started to get creative in this sector. I'm like, what can I add to this hat to, make it cool, or at least cool to me? So I started getting like different stuff, pins, different things I could put on the hat to create a style or whatever. So once I created a style, I said, okay, I'm going to do 20 of these. And I think the first time I did about 20 or 25 hats. I think it was 25 hats. So I went back to the guy. I gave him the first order. It was 25 hats. And, paid him. And I was like, all right, so I got 25 hats. So what happened, we all know that COVID hit the next year. I'll never forget the date, March 16, 2020, was when the government did its official shutdown, and then the world has never been the same. So from, oh my God, I think it was February 2019, it was about a year. So from February 2019 to March 16th, 2020, I started to promote my hats. I made an Instagram page. I was taking pictures, like different stuff. And what was crazy was, like I said, I'm doing all of this on my own. I'm just trying to, see like what the process is like, what this looks like, what type of responses I'm going to get. So when I actually did my first launch, I sold half my inventory. It was crazy. A lot of it was in person, just talking to people online. I made some in-person sales. And I'll be honest, I probably gave like 5 hats away for free. I gave like probably 3 people hats and they paid me later. And this is a process. And so one of the things, this is me acting out entrepreneurship in the flesh. So you're learning a lot of stuff. You're making mistakes. You are coming up with your first sequence of how you want to do this stuff. And that's when I was like, yo, I want to do this like big time. So when COVID hit, everybody was like, everybody paled up. They was like, wait a minute, like we can't touch anything. Like the way COVID had people shook was like 10 times worse when SARS came out. I don't know if anybody knows about the skin disease. Well, it really wasn't even like a skin disease, but it was like a skin epidemic. If you look it up, SARS, it was big in the United States back in the early 2000s. It's a skin condition you can get from touching people who were sweaty or had excessive their skin pores were excessively open and exposed to like bodily fluids or the sun. You can get what was called SARS. So a lot of people, when COVID first hit, that was the big thing. They was like, don't touch anybody, wear gloves, wear masks, try to stay away from different points of contact with your hands. I remember there was a point in time there was like, if you sweat, don't touch your sweat. Wipe it off with a shirt or a napkin, because you can get COVID. COVID was airborne. It was crazy at that time. So I shut down my operation because everything with my hats I was doing with my hands. So my first introduction into experiencing like, loss or capital loss was literally the fact that I just shut down. I didn't say, okay, let me create a system where like there's no contact, or let me just go get gloves. Like I legit was not thinking. I was in this bubble where it was all fear based. So I really regret that time, opportunity that I missed, because I'll be very frank with you, and I think a lot of us have friends or know somebody who benefited from COVID. COVID literally made people millionaires overnight. I'm talking about people who were working dead end jobs. They had nothing going for themselves. It was just going to be a mundane life for them. They used the opportunity to become drop shippers, get on Amazon. Some people bought food trucks. Some people started companies online. Some people, just started creating courses. And overnight, people became millionaires. So my first road to becoming a millionaire, I literally missed it. Literally missed it. If I would have just believed, and I would have just strategized, and probably if I'd have had somebody in my corner, to help me, of course. But like I said, it was. I'm still proud of it because I've learned. I'm learning that there's seasons in business. If you're gonna be a business owner, entrepreneur, there's seasons where things are gonna happen in the world, and some people, they feel like they have to shut down. Some people, they're just like, oh, we just relocate. For me, it would have been the mindset to just relocate or re-strategize what I wanted to do as an entrepreneur. And so I took notes on all of that stuff, all of it, all of it, all of it. And so that is what led me to where I am now. That's my beginning, or my beginning story or breakout story that got me into entrepreneurship. But where I am now, and I look, like I said, my statement earlier, I'm so convinced that entrepreneurship is on the same level. It's equal almost to the journey of the believer. A lot of people don't understand what entrepreneurship is, that you literally have to be reborn again. Entrepreneurship is not something where you just say, "Oh, I'm gonna just do it." No, you have to understand that this road is not a road about having 100% guarantees. It's not a road about anticipation where, oh, it's you. If you're a person that works 9 to 5 and you've been, resume job, resume job, resume job, resume job, broke job, if you've lived that life, you have to deny that life. There's nothing about a job. There's nothing about quote unquote financial stability that you can take over into entrepreneurship. It's no guarantee. You're gonna some people, it might take them. Listen, there's some people, gifted or not, depending on what industry they're in 6 months, in 6 to 18 months, they can become a millionaire. It just depends on the circle that you create, the value that you bring, the work that you put in, the return you're looking for, and how much you prepared yourself. It all depends. And even once you make the big deal, get the big deal, sign the big contract, get the big endorsement, the big return from your company, making its first million, you can't stop there. You can't. You have to keep going. So, like I said, entrepreneurship is something that you have to be focused. You have to be focused. You have to, you have to be selfish at certain times. You have to be determined, and you have to have faith. And like I said, this is definitely something I'm going to talk about over time. But entrepreneurship is something that requires you to be so selfless. It requires you to be selfless simply because if you are a true entrepreneur, remember, you're creating value. You're finding value in something, and you're exposing it to the world. You're solving a problem. Okay, you're becoming the answer into the many different issues that are in the world economic market. And so you have to not think about yourself. You have to think about how what you are doing is going to benefit somebody else. And of course, like I said, that would just take so much to expound on. But like I said, this is the intro point to it. So yeah, I've told you guys a general overview of my story, but as I continue to grow in entrepreneurship, I love it. It's the best thing ever. Like I said, it's a tough road. A lot of people who decide that they're going to do it. There's just so much advice that I could personally give you. I mean, and if I and of course we hear the advice from the people who are up on top. You go on social media today. Yeah, you may have the people who's faking it till they make it. You might have the people who just flat out faking it. And then, of course, you have the people that everybody can check their track record. I know the wisdom that I would give to somebody. I know the advice that I would give to somebody who wants to get into entrepreneurship. Definitely, if you are interested, reach out to me, and we can definitely put some time aside to talk about that. But like I said, my advice, just starting off is take the time to spend with you. I would not encourage somebody to just up and say, go start a business. Take the time to really address you, because when you get into entrepreneurship, everything that you're afraid of, it will show. People may not know that you're afraid of it, but they gonna know you're afraid of something. And the more you confront yourself, the better you'll be on entrepreneurship. Some people don't realize that quality that a lot of people don't like about them is the actual quality that they need to thrive in business or entrepreneurship. And they need that time to accept the fact that this is who I am. And they need the time to accept the fact that this is actually a good skill. It's just that I've had it and it doesn't fit in this mold. Some people need to realize that their their lack thereof is because they've been in the wrong circles all their life. The reason why they're always coming up short is because they're pumping value into the wrong atmosphere. And they have to accept the fact that that's what they've been doing, and now it's time to put it elsewhere and watch themselves have a better life. So it's so many of those things that you have to do, and you don't have to do all of them at once, but you want to start that foundation. You got to have a strong foundation for when you get into entrepreneurship. That I will tell you. And that's one of the things that I'm going to put out. And, I want within the next 2 years to release my first publication, release a book under my brand, under Honor Kings and Sons. I want to be able to talk about the mental transformation that needs to take place, the spiritual transformation that needs to take place in order for you to be successful in entrepreneurship. You have to undergo a transformation. And when I say have to, I'm not saying that forced upon you. I'm saying that something has to radically be shifted in your life in order for you to do this. If you're a regular 9 to 5 person, McDonald's, Walmart, whatever, and somebody told you about entrepreneurship and you want to give it a try, if you just bluntly just say, okay, I'm gonna go do it, I'm not saying that it won't happen. Trust me, I'm a person. I would even say I'm gullible every inch or so. Every now and then I might find myself gullible on a thing or two. But what I'm saying is that even if you just say I'm gonna do it, there's a part that you're going to approach that is going to require you to die to something in order to take the next step. That I can guarantee you. Man, I can sit here and go on and on and on about this and the love I have for entrepreneurship. But of course, definitely I want to be able to build this relationship with you guys. So definitely be able to join my Discord, guys. My link is in the description with the episode. Join my Discord. I want to be able to hear your thoughts on today. Do you have an experience on entrepreneurship? Are you an entrepreneur? What's your story? I would love to hear it, and I would love to build community with you guys talking about the subject. Entrepreneurship is on the rise. It's been on the rise for the past 20, 30 years. Studies have shown that, there has been a rise in entrepreneurship amongst black women, amongst millennials, as young as 16 years old. A lot of people believe that what's going to save the world economy is entrepreneurs being birthed every single day. There's so many industries that are booming right now: cybersecurity, tech sales. We have people that are building in web design. They're building in so many different things. The rise of AI. Make sure you guys check out my recent episode on the rise of AI. That is changing the world of entrepreneurship. People have seen as high as 354% rise in monthly recurring revenue in sales, yearly sales, as a result of incorporating AI into their companies and businesses. It's an amazing time to be alive, and it's a time where you can really change your life. You just have to, like I say, experience that transformation, get your head focused, and go out there and have faith and believe in what value you want to create. So until next time, guys, this is Darren Jones on Honor Kings and Sons TV podcast. Please make sure that you follow me on all social media platforms, subscribe to both YouTube channels, and I will see you soon. Take care, God bless, and be easy.